guys, welcome back to the Soul Sisters EMC². We are coming to you with episode 4 today. A really fun topic on being fabulously centered, healthy, and fit, no matter what your schedule is. So I'm joined today by the lovely Christa Clark of artisticvegan.com, the lovely Monica Diaz of fabulouslyfitover40.com, and myself, Erica Vetra of vetrafitness.com. All right, so like I said, today we're going to be sharing some tips and some advice and just kind of discussing a little bit from all three of our different backgrounds and perspectives on how to basically be awesome on a day-to-day basis and feel wonderful and feel like, you know, you're accomplishing things and moving forward and appreciating life in general. Our first question goes out to Ms. Monica. Monica, would you like to share / can you share some tips on incorporating fitness into your busy lifestyle? I know you've got a really extensive background and knowledge of fitness, so I'm curious to hear what kind of advice you have.
Good question. So what I've realized in life is if you don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. And, you know, when my kids were young, because I have 3 biological, now I have 2 bonus girls, plus I work, plus we have various projects. So I could have, honestly, tons of excuses as to why I'm not able to go to the gym, I'm not able to work out, or I'm not even able to focus on my diet. Yet I choose to place those at the forefront. And so they're included in my schedule. And we know on this day we're doing this, and we know on this day we're doing that. Mm-hmm. So we incorporate it, and it's always based on our goals. So if our goals are, because we're like, right now we're getting ready for body painting, so we're doing double cardio. We're doing different things that we don't normally do because we want to look a certain way by the time we hit that time period. So It's all reflective of our goals and what it is that we want to accomplish and how it is that we want to feel or look. So for me, my primary concern is always, how do I feel? If I'm feeling great and I'm in that process and I'm flowing with it, then I continue to do it. And if it doesn't feel good to me, like Jay is so laser focused when he comes to a goal. He is so like, he doesn't care if he doesn't feel good because he's going to look the way he wants to look. Whereas I'm like, you know what? I needed some carbs today. I'm not feeling too great, so I'm going to eat a little bit more. But as far as the exercise goes, always figure a way out that's going to work with your routine. So when my kids were little, I didn't say, okay, I don't have time. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning and I trained in the morning because that's when I could do it. So everyone, if you want to accomplish something, look at the ways that you can do it. What works for you? Everybody's schedule is completely different. We all have different dynamics. We all have people pulling us in different directions. If you do not place your health first, then it's going to be too late by the time you want to. So
that's a great point. Wow, if I had a nickel for, sorry to interrupt, and I might do this a lot this show because I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about, but if I had a nickel for every person that I've talked to who's like middle-aged or older who does the like, man, if I had just started earlier, or like, I wish I could have done this when I like was younger and I didn't have so much pain or something like that. And so, yeah, I think there is such a thing as it being too late at some point.
Well, I think it's too late, but you can still do something to feel better. And I think that's what people forget. Like if you, for example, like my dad, he didn't take care of his body for many, many years. He's 70 now. And so he's at a point where he really is not able to do too much. But I sometimes am like, well, Dad, what if you took a walk maybe 5 minutes longer? Right. Maybe you just took a different direction or do this. Because during that time, he can be in nature. He can be looking at the leaves. I mean, there's so many things that you can, because I mean, really, if you think about it, like health and fitness is a mindset more than it is anything else. It's a mindset of what is it that I want to accomplish at this given point in time, or where are you mentally? And I think even too, when people work out, like don't go to the gym to sit there and socialize. If that's what you want, go to happy hour. You know, go to happy hour. But if you want to go and train and you want to be in great shape, then be there. Be at that present moment and work with intention. When you do yoga, you teach with intention. Right? Sure that whatever's being done is done with intention, because that's how you're going to properly, you know, do the form. Same with training. Like, you know, if we're going to be training, we're going to be working something, we're going to use that muscle and we're going to breathe, release, and we're going to actually contract the muscle fiber. So when you do things, do it smart and make sure you plan it based on your schedule.
That's excellent. I guess I wanted to kind of piggyback on that and share a couple of ways for people to add yoga into their day-to-day activities. And my first, in thinking about this, the first thing that came to my mind was you have to set a time / a day. You have to make it enough of a priority so that it exists in your daily schedule or weekly schedule or whatever it is, and write it on a calendar or something so that you have that chunk of time blocked out. It can be 5 minutes, whatever, you know. And the other thing that I was thinking was that it should be a small goal. If it's something that's new to you, if you're trying to get back in shape, or if you're new to yoga, or if you're new to anything, don't bite off more than you can chew in the beginning. You know, there's a lot of people who are like, man, I've been out of shape for a while, I need to do yoga every day. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe, but that's not quite, I mean, you can hurt yourself, first of all. And second of all, that's a big lifestyle change to make. That's like quitting smoking and drinking at the same time, cold turkey, you know? And like you said, Monica, fitness is a lifestyle. Health is a lifestyle. It's not like a thing that you just kind of like try on for a month because you want to lose 10 pounds or whatever. Like, it is a mental state. With that being said, it's really easy to add yoga into your day-to-day activities. And I would start really small, you know, just 1 or 2 poses here and there. I mean, it's so easy to just like break out a downward facing dog, you know, in the parking lot, or like in your office, or like in your living room. I mean, like you stand and talk on the phone and do tree pose, you know, you have a 5-minute break at work or a 15-minute break at work. Hold a plank pose for a minute, you know. Do a couple push-ups. It's so easy to just like work it in tiny like little segments. And then once you do that, I think you start to realize like, hey, this is kind of nice. I kind of enjoy this. Maybe I could carve out 20 minutes and do like an actual routine or whatever it is. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Start really small and simple with goals that are not intimidating, you know. It's just like, I mean, I got to be at the yoga studio for an hour and a half every day, 5 days a week. Because like, I don't do that. I mean, ugh. So, so I wasn't sure if you guys have anything that you wanted to add to that.
I wanted to add something that popped in my mind, if you don't mind. I think too, it's important for anybody, man or woman, to understand too, is it's like, so we think of our body as, you know, it's been said, you know, your body is your temple, right? So when you allow yourself to pay attention to your temple, and you allow yourself to be able to put it first and foremost, I mean, that's really an expression of who you are, and that's dictating your worth to yourself and to others. Mm-hmm. So I think part of being healthy is like, are you worthy enough? Many people do not place enough worth in themselves to follow through or to do it, because, you know, I've seen women time and time again who will say, oh, you know, it's like, I just don't have the time, or I'm this or that. But then really, if you get to the core of it, they truly, when they look in the mirror, I mean, I've seen some beautiful women too, who look at themselves in the mirror and they look and they see an ugly, overweight person. And yet you look at them and you're like, wait a second, you look great. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And so until somebody actually is able to stand in their own skin and say, you know, I'm worthy of being the best version of myself. I'm worthy of paying attention to what it is that I'm doing, how I'm showing up to this world. And then from that point, you know, pursuing what it is they want to pursue. Nobody says that everybody has to look like a fitness model. Nobody said that you have to look like you're a size 2, size 4. Hey, you can be healthy and be a size 10 and you can rock that. Until you actually know that you're worthy to be a healthy version of yourself. And also too, in converse, it's like, right now people are like, oh yeah, you got to love your body. Yeah, love your body, but don't abuse it. Because you're 250 pounds and you're 5 feet, come on, that's not healthy. Right. It's great to love your body, but it's truly not healthy. What can you do to improve your health?
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, that's a rant.
I was also going to add, when I was in corporate, I used to do things that you used to say, like I would find these empty cubicles and I would do a downward dog or a couple sun salutations or plank pose or just something to recenter myself. And or I'd even go to the bathroom and do like a handstand when no one was in there. And
I thought no one else did that. I used to do that all the time at work.
So whatever you can do, you know, or even just a walk around the block, or at lunch we'd do like some weights and a walk, and whatever you can do just to fit it in your schedule. It's going to only benefit you.
Yeah. And you could sit in your chair and squeeze your butt.
Yeah.
Hold it, release. Squeeze your butt. That's true. Hold it, release. Squeeze your butt. Hold it, release. There's a little workout.
Yeah, we can all do it right now.
You know, in traffic.
My dad, this is so random. I completely forgot about this. He wrote an article, I should find it for you guys, on how to work your arms when you're driving. And he had this whole like routine. I'm sure, I guess maybe other people have done it, but this is like years ago when I was in high school. He wrote this whole routine of like what you can do with a steering wheel to like work your chest and your arms. And he used to do it in the car. And I used to think he was crazy, but I get it. Especially like you, Monica, if you got like a million things going on, you're super busy. It's like, you know, where can I fit it in? You know, how can I like keep this a priority and maintain all my other priorities?
Right. It's got to be in your schedule. It's got to be.
You got to put it in. Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be in your schedule. It's got to be a part. I mean, you got to be at work at 9 o'clock. All right. Figure out how can you do it before? What are you going to do? Are you going to do it after?
Yeah.
You just figure it out. Start looking. The way I see it is you start looking at solutions. Don't look at the obstacles. Look at the solutions.
Yeah, and think outside the box too. It's like, yeah, a lot of people go to like the gym at, you know, after work. That doesn't mean that you have to go after work.
Right.
You could go, like you said, if you got to be at work at 7 a.m, if it's that important to you, you start going to bed earlier and you get up at 5, you know, and you do what you can, or like you take your little dumbbells to your office and you shut the door on your lunch break and you do your little, you know, your weight routine or your yoga, whatever it is.
Yeah. It just comes down to putting you as a priority rather than to allow the day's hecticness to take control of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's well said. Christa, Ms. B, I know there's a lot of us out here wondering, myself included, how can I eat healthy when I don't have a lot of time? This is like the $1 million question. So can you give us any sort of insight or stuff that's worked for you to make healthy eating easier for people who have busy schedules?
Yeah, I think the number one thing for me and for people with busy schedules would be food prep. After you go and get your groceries, they're nice and fresh. It's a great time to chop them up, and you can put like fruits in a little container in serving sizes, or vegetables, or in a baggie, and then you can pull them out whenever you need them for when you're cooking. And you can also go to the next level and make a big batch of rice, big batch of pasta, big batch of sauce, or you can buy your own sauce, bake potatoes, do squash, whatever you can, maybe on just one day of the week. So you make that time, that schedule to make a whole bunch of food that you can pull from throughout the week. And then if you want to go to the next level, you can actually prepare your meals for the whole week. So you can have, you know, Monday I'm going to eat this or heat this up for dinner, or I have this 30-minute meal planned out really fresh and fast. And that's a really great way. Like we always have beans on hand, or rice, or just something we can pull from, because sometimes we're busy and we just want to whip something together. So that's a good way to incorporate it.
What I've realized with food is so many of us are adapted, I guess you can say, especially living where we live in like LA area and you know, coastal communities. It's like everything's about convenience. Like you're going to go through the drive-through because it's convenient. You're going to do all these things because it's convenient. So we don't really pay attention to what we're putting in our bodies because it's convenient. So we eat more as a source of pleasure than we eat as a source of fuel. So I think if we thought ourselves, I mean, you can do whatever works for you that's going to allow you to make better choices. And for me, I always like to think, okay, well, this is my body. This is what I'm going to be putting into it. You know, and that's why we don't drink alcohol, because for us, that's poison. That's putting poison into our body. Right. And so that's a choice that we make. So we don't drink alcohol. But, you know, people, you know, there's sugars, like so many different things that we put in our bodies that we just do it because we're so accustomed to doing it. Mm-hmm. And then we watch TV and they're advertising this, they're advertising that. And so it's so easy to get wrapped up into, oh my God, this is so great. You know, cakes, cookies, pies, all these different things. Yeah, I get it. It's all like feel good, like, oh, but start thinking if you're doing it a little too much, okay, wait, there might be something wrong with that. And you're in sugar comas, you're all these different things. So see how you feel after you eat something. And then I've also advised some people too, like log what you're eating and write how you feel when you're choosing that food, because then that'll give you an indication as to why you're eating that. So like if you're bored, do you go to that Oreo bag? Or if you're excited, you go to that bag of chips. Mm-hmm. We all have patterns that we do, and if you don't track it, you really don't understand what you're doing until you pay attention to it. You go, oh geez, because I know for me, like before, I would get like, I had to have a bag of chocolate chip cookies. Oh my God, this is going on. I'm going to have a bag of chocolate chip cookies. So it became this pattern of chocolate chip cookies. Mm-hmm. And then until I realized it and I broke the pattern, I was continuing to do it.
Yeah, and another thing too is to, try not to buy those things. Try not to buy the Oreos or the chips or the processed foods as much, and try healthier replacements. And then you won't. And when you're at home and in that night hour, you won't go to them.
Yeah, and don't go shopping hungry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good advice.
That's when you get all the crap.
I do that. And I'm guilty of that. I end up shopping it's like the last thing I do in the day before I go home. I'm like, oh crap, I got to go to the grocery store. I'm starving and I'm exhausted.
Right.
And
also be careful with culture eating. Like so many of us, depending on your culture, you're taught with me being Mexican, beans, rice, and everything's like fried. Like even the rice is fried. So because that's your culture doesn't mean it's good for you.
Right.
So, pay attention.
That's a really good point. And I remember when I lived in Mexico and also when I lived in Thailand, both of those places were most people that we knew there ate a lot of fried stuff and like a ton of meat. Mm-hmm. I don't eat meat. I don't have anything against people who do eat meat. I don't really care. But if the people I was living with and myself, if we had allowed ourselves to just be a reflection, like dietarily, a reflection of where we were, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
So just because that stuff is around, it doesn't mean that's what you have to put in your body. Or just because it's like National Taco Day or National Chocolate Cake Day, it doesn't mean that you have to just dive off the deep end or something like that, Right. And Monica, it goes back to what you were saying about being worthy. I mean, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say I love myself. I love my body as it is, accepting it as it is, and accepting what I want to improve. And I deserve to be healthy. You start to get away from that mentality where it's like, well, I did a good job today, so my reward is
right.
It's like I did a good job, so my reward is delicious, healthy, amazing.
Absolutely.
Recipes from Christa.
No.
Yeah.
But
are you both,
vegan?
Are you vegetarian or are you both vegan?
I'm vegan.
You're both vegan? Yeah. All right. I'm the one who's not vegan.
That's okay.
I don't care. I actually, when I was in Thailand, I ate eggs because I had nothing else to eat and I was just training intensively whatever. But yeah, vegan. Although I could not care less what other people do or choose. It's like having a favorite color. Anyway, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this question. Monica, what do you keep in your gym bag? I'm so curious.
Me too.
What do I keep in my gym bag?
I just want to follow you around at the gym for a day and see what you do.
Honestly, our gym bag is so and it depends on what day it is. Actually when we went back at the beginning of the year, we went to Florida and we went to the Mecca gym there in Florida, and they had these bars that train your back in a different way. So when we do back, we have these bars that we actually ordered online that we put in the bag. And I honestly only have my gloves and whatever bars we're working on the day, whether it's the rope to do tries or whether it's the bar to do back. Mm-hmm. It's very, very simple. And then, we'll bring water to drink, and then I'll have a book in there because right now we're doing cardio after training too, because we're leaning out for our goal. And so it just really depends on what our goals are. But we have a tiny little bag and we put in it whatever we're training that day. So leg day, we have knee sleeves because my knees are shot from running. You can literally hear the cartilage when I bend my knees. It's yeah. So I have knee sleeves for that. And then I have my workout gloves. It's so minimal. I'm telling you, we're the most basic people ever. Basic.
And do you guys, you said you train a couple days a week, or I'm not sure.
Days. We do 4 days a week. So today we did chest, and then we do arms tomorrow, and then Thursday we do back, and Friday we do legs. And so every day right now after training, we also do cardio, and then we do cardio again at night.
Wow.
So
got you.
It's and then right now too, I feel even my arms, they're getting all this even more cut. All right.
They look amazing.
All right. But what's interesting though is it's really cool. I'm telling you guys, when you train with whether you're doing biceps and you go like this and you squeeze and hold and then release and you go back slow and then you hold it, squeeze, like that squeeze, so you can feel it, and then you just release. Like, that's how you train. You don't go,
right.
That's not training. And it's like anything that you do, like you can go to yoga and people are just going to screw around and they're not really there, then they're not going to get the benefits of it.
Right.
If you go and do something, learn how to do it. Learn what's productive. I mean, when you go to work, you don't just go there and pick your nose and expect to get paid. You go and you do your job.
Unless you work in a nose picking factory. I couldn't help it. No, but you're right. It's totally a question of intention. And if you talk to the students who take my classes in person, they'll tell you I'm like a total stickler for form and for being deliberate, you know. When you put your hands on your mat, when you set up for plank pose or an arm balance or down dog, whatever it is, whenever you put your hands on your mat, you look at your hands and you do it carefully because you're making an intentional, deliberate decision. Like, if you don't want to half-ass your life, why would you half-ass your workout, you know? And so you need to be fully there. You need to be fully present.
Breath out. Listen carefully. On your next inhale, raise up into high plank. Take your shoulders under your wrists under your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide. Press the ground away with your fingers, your knuckles, and the heels of your hands, all parts of your hands. Keep your shoulders in line with your hips. Keep your breath deep. Keep your neck long. And hold. Feel the heat beginning to generate inside your body, in your core, in your legs, in your shoulders.
And like you said, I mean, a bicep curl, if you're doing it wrong, you can curl 100 pounds, or well, somebody could curl 100 pounds. But if you're doing it really right and you've got your whole brain in your arm, so to speak, then you probably don't need a lot to get the full contraction, you know?
You don't.
Yeah. So yeah, it's, for me, it is very much.
Many people train with their ego and they figure that if they go to the gym, oh, I got 50-pound weight, so I'm so strong. And meanwhile, they're going,
right. Using their body.
Leave your ego at the door. Leave it at the door.
Yeah.
You can pick it up on the way out.
Yeah, exactly. So which brings me into my next point. How to make yoga a priority, and really how to make any of this a priority, how to make healthy eating and physical exercise, whatever you choose it to be. And I guess I'll talk about it in light of yoga. Like I said before, set a time, whether it's every day or whether you start with like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, set days, and don't let yourself get away from it. The way that you treat, you know, the importance that you give to, like, I don't know, jury duty or something. Not that yoga is unpleasant, but you know, you have an appointment at the doctor, or you have a dinner date with like your husband or your friends or something like that. Your yoga time or your exercise time is up there on the priority list. And then, kind of like Monica, what you were saying about writing down what you eat. Really take note of how you feel when you do something for yourself that's physically active, whether it's taking the time to prep your meals for the week, or going to the gym and like lifting weights, or doing some kind of cardio or yoga, whatever. If you learn how to tune in and see how your body really feels before, during, and after that, it'll probably keep you coming back, you know. And then going back to the whole thing, like you deserve to be healthy. You're worth it. You're worth the time. Again, whether it's 10 minutes or 2 hours to give to yourself, and you're not punishing your body. You're not pushing your body through a workout. Like, I just got to get through this thing and it hurts really bad and I hate my life and oh my God, I'm going to pay for this tomorrow. No, you're doing it. And you're hopefully you're sort of enjoying it while you're doing it. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, it's challenging, but like, you know that change is growth, you know, and it's progress. And I don't know, I tell my students in classes a lot, like, one of your goals could be to feel better walking out of here than you did walking in.
Right.
Which I think we can take into a lot of different situations. So yeah, I mean, it's not easy to develop a new habit. And I totally understand that. And we've all been there where it's like, you want to try a new diet, or you want to try a new, read a certain amount of pages in a book every day, or whatever it is with studying or exercising or anything. And we all have tried it, and we've all failed and succeeded. And I think it's best to realize that you're human. You can fall off the wagon. You just got to get back on. That's all. Like if you fall off your healthy eating or your yoga practice, don't stay off.
Hey, Christa, you were pretty overweight at one time, right?
Yeah.
So what was the mindset that you had?
I'm nodding like this.
When you created your shift? Like, what was the mindset that you had? And then how long do you think it took you? And how overweight were you? And then what steps did you take, like, that helped you to move past and beyond that and to become, I mean, look at you. You're like,
oh, thank you.
So, like, what took you from that to this?
Well, I think I went into that comfort phase, like you would grab your chocolate chips, I would make a cheesecake or just something to deal with my emotions. And so I was kind of an emotional eater. And I think I noticed when I moved away from home, I would kind of comfort eat, and, maybe it's missing family or for whatever reason. And I got into a relationship with someone who was a real foodie, and we would just eat whatever we wanted. So we'd go out, get a beer, get pizza, get breadsticks to go with it, and have a cheesecake for dessert. And you just can't eat like that,
not all the time.
Consistently and not have it affect you no matter who you are. Well, maybe not for some, but for me, I couldn't. And I think it was just kind of embarrassment. I would see, I had a coworker who was in her 50s, and she just looked amazing. And then I was in my 20s, really young 20s, and I was embarrassed to walk up the stairs. I was out of breath. I would try to do yoga and certain poses I couldn't do because I had rolls in the way, and my clothes size kept going up. But I held on to those clothes that I had, because before that, up until then, I had been pretty physically fit and active, and so I kind of held on to that, like, that's how I saw myself. And this was kind of, I don't know, I didn't feel like I was being my best self. And so I used, like, the law of attraction. I made those vision boards and put up, kind of like how you said you used to look at the Shape magazines. I want to look like that, or different things. So I would do different things to motivate me and say, I wouldn't mind being the ideal person that I was meant to be. And for me, it was a whole lifestyle change. I had done the yo-yo dieting. I had done, different, like Weight Watchers or Atkins or different things. And so I knew it was something that I had to make it a priority and make it a schedule. And one thing that I would ask myself is, have I ever regretted XYZ? Like if it was going for a walk. And I did do those things that Monica mentioned, where I wrote down what I ate and acknowledged how it made me feel. And just doing that alone will change your patterns, because you'll realize, well, this makes me feel good, and this, depletes all my energy source, and this results in 5 pounds that I have to now work off this week. And, you just kind of correlate cause and effect. And it just kind of started with the, decision, and, it's the basic exercise and eating healthy, like everyone else, says or does. And just making that a priority, whether it's walking up the hill, doing Jillian Michaels, that was what I did back then, and or doing yoga, and then just trying to make my own food and eating out less. And then when I did eat out, which I think leads into the next question, when you eat out, you can make just healthier choices. So instead of getting the pizza or the cheeseburger or the biggest meal, often when we eat out, we think of it as a reward, or, I can let my hair hang out and I can just get what I want. And instead of looking at it that way, I would look at, how would this make me feel? So you can get like fajitas, and if you're watching your carbs, and you can skip the tortillas, or ask for some lettuce and make a lettuce wrap, or, salads don't necessarily have to be boring, or you can have a smoothie bowl nowadays, or there's a lot of different health food stores that exist now. And now even on options, like here in California, they have like a V or a GF, or gluten-free or vegan or vegetarian, or if you want meat, you can have it, and, maybe go baked and not fried.
Right. And I think too, it's also the mindset that goes with it, where you don't feel like you're depriving yourself. Like just because you're not getting tortillas, don't be like, oh man, I don't have tortillas.
I want those tortillas.
It's not a good meal. Like seriously, it's cool. Like eat because it's fuel for your body.
Right.
And when you're full, stop. Instead of like continuing to eat, like, in our family, everybody sits around and we just talk and eat with like not even paying attention to how much we're eating. And then by the time it's time to eat, we're like, oh my God, I'm so full. So that's, just don't feel like you're cheating yourself out. And then the other thing I would say too is like when you go to restaurants, you might have people that you're with like, oh man, why are you eating like that? Just understand that people are coming only from their perspective. Everybody sees from their lenses. Just because they don't understand it doesn't mean that it's wrong or you have to feel bad for the way you're eating.
Right.
Be comfortable enough and strong enough to know that what you're doing is best for you.
Right.
And when I stopped drinking, I had plenty of people like, oh, why aren't you drinking? Because I don't want to. Well, you can't dance or you can't do that. Yeah, I can. Who said? I don't need a drink. So just know that the decision that you're making is fine. You don't have to be crabs in a bucket and get pulled down by other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I very, very occasionally drink, mostly for that reason. I feel like it's just an awful thing to put in my body. And I can't tell you how much like pressure I've gotten from people around me in social settings and even otherwise, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you the only sober one? Like, why can't you just relax and have a good time? And I'm like, why do I need to be drunk to have a good time? This is a choice that I'm making. I feel it's a disgusting substance and it's poison. And I would rather be able to get up in the morning, and feel good. And it's the same thing with food, like you said, you shouldn't have to answer. You don't have to answer to anybody. You have to answer to you. So if the whole writing down what you're eating thing, you go out to eat and you get something that you want that maybe isn't the healthiest choice for you at that moment, and you go home and you look at yourself in the mirror, can you answer to that? Can you say like, I stand by my decision to eat those tortillas? If the answer is yes, eat the tortillas. It's not the end of the world,
Right.
Yeah.
But if you know that this is not in your plan, or you're really trying to avoid that, or it makes you feel crappy, or it gives you inflammation, or it makes you break out, then make a smart choice, right? But like a chocolate chip cookie is not going to kill you.
Yeah, and believe me, we're not saying that we're perfect here. I don't think any of us are saying we're perfect.
No.
We always eat 100% perfect, because believe me, when I'm PMSing, I'm going to get my chocolate chip cookie, and I'll get a
chocolate bar.
I don't care. I'm PMSing, leave me alone. So it depends, and I don't beat myself up afterwards. I'm like, that's fine.
No.
So good.
Yeah.
So just don't beat yourself up, and just realize what's going to motivate you and what's going to push you, that's all.
Yeah. And actually, Christa, I think you've probably noticed this. Whenever I make like one of your recipes, or whenever I like look at your cookbook, I always go to the dessert section because I have a sweet tooth. But you do a good job of having recipes that are like, they're sweet, they're delicious, and they're healthy. And I think that that's good for people to remember, that like sweets are not necessarily, they don't have to be junk.
Right.
And the other thing is, the more it's almost like the more you eat something, the more you want it. And that goes for like potato chips just as much as it goes for like fresh fruit, if you
chips and guacamole.
Oh God, I miss that. Oh man, we used to eat that every day in Texas.
All that stuff is so good. So yeah.
It is.
Yep.
It is. So yeah, just moving on in our discussion. What helps us make our healthy choices a priority, in the context of our busy lives? Just, I feel like I've said this a few times, but setting a time, setting a day, keeping track of how I feel, before, during, and after I do something, whether it's eating or exercising or practicing yoga. One thing that does help me make yoga a priority, that I've seen other people struggle with, there's this thing where if you have 1 hour a day, or if on a given day you have 1 hour to like do something physical or work out or something, there's a lot of people who are going to say like, I'd rather just like do a crap load of cardio, because I feel like I need a better workout, than just yoga, which is, I totally understand. I would encourage people to not necessarily look at yoga so much as a workout, as a healing practice. And it doesn't, some people take it to an emotional, mental, spiritual level, which is wonderful. Some people keep it at a physical level, which is also wonderful. But whatever it is a healing, recovery based, just maintaining your basic movement. And we know that, as you get older, you start to prioritize those things. How do I maintain like basic range of motion? And so I feel like I run into, or people run into problems sometimes when they think of yoga as their workout. It's not. You know, it will work you out, you know, depending on how you practice it, your intention and the style of class and all that stuff. But that's, I prefer personally to think of it as that's not the goal. So you have an hour a day to move around, go, you know, run, cycle, lift weights, do something fun, you know, go outside, hike, play sports. But try to find like 5 or 10 minutes to stretch, you know, because it's different. It's not exercise. It's like, it's maintenance, you know.
And it's like meditation on the mat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I mean, really, honestly, it's just a medium for you to learn how to listen to yourself.
Yeah,
a lot of things can be like that, you know, like when you jog, when you run, when you lift weights, something that you enjoy that you can totally focus on is a way for you to tune into your inner voice. Cooking too, you know. Shopping, I don't know, maybe. I'm sure for some people. So, Christa, what is your advice for prioritizing healthy eating?
I would say I would make it a top priority, just like working out or some kind of fitness, because if you look at the amount of people who have disease right now and are suffering from diabetes or overweight or getting heart disease, the amount of people that are dying, I mean, it should be your number one priority, especially if it can, healthy eating and taking care of your temple directly relates to your life and your lifespan. And so often, I even just had someone write me yesterday that I went to school with, asking for some gluten-free and carb-free options because the doctor said, you know, you have to go on this lifestyle for a couple weeks or something. But instead of having someone tell you that you have to stop cold turkey and make a big lifestyle change, which could be a lot harder than just implementing it at your own accord and over time and as it makes you feel good, it's a lot easier to maintain your health than it is to let it all go and then have someone tell you have to take this pill or you're going to have to get the surgery or, you know, have this big life-changing thing. And, you know, so many people are on prescription drugs and we're thankfully not on any. And I think that's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Amen, sister.
So Monica, I'm curious, along with probably everyone else who's watching this, how exactly do you stay so fit? How often do you work out? And how can you talk a little bit about maintaining, just like Christa was just saying, maintaining your level of health, as you know, and how much easier that can be than starting from scratch?
Yeah, of course. So I think, okay, so I guess what I'll do is I'll start more from like a broad perspective. Like everyone out there, it's important for you to know what your goals are. Like my goals are going to be different, completely different than everybody else's. Like I want to look lean and fit. That's what I desire to do. So I train to look that way.
Come on. 5, one more. Come on, one more. One more. Come on. 6. Awesome. See? How do you feel?
Exhausted.
Devastated. See, so there you go. You see one set of 3 rotations is literally all you need for abs, and you can have a completely shredded 6-pack. Show them. Look at that.
I don't go to the gym and just do cardio. I go and I train, and then, yeah, we do cardio to maintain our leanness. So just know what it is that you want to do and then work towards that. And remember, you guys, anything can be a workout. It doesn't have to be the gym. Like you said, you know, you can go hiking. You can do, there's so many different things that you can do. So figure out for you what works. Like for us, it's 4 days a week. We work out in the mornings and we get it done. So that way our day, we can move forward with our day. And then our day is planned. Our meals, like yesterday, Jay's awesome. He made all of our meals for the whole week. So they're already planned. They're already there. All I have to do is pull it out and it's done. So there's no like, oh, what are we going to eat today? Or what's this or what's that? Everything's done. It's so freaking simple that it's crazy. And I'm telling you, I didn't live this way for many, many, many years. I always attempted to, but I didn't know. And so I was just following people that had no idea what they were doing, but I thought, oh, I like the way they look. And I was comparing myself to them and going, well, I want to look like that. So I'm going to do what they're doing. Meanwhile, they don't know what they're doing. So I don't know what I'm doing. So make sure that you know what it is that you want, and then take the steps to look that way. And for me, it's an everyday thing. Like I have a routine that I follow from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. And, we drink lots of water, we eat correctly. And I mean, even to the point where like, and honestly too, like Jay's helped me tremendously with this, my husband. He's really helped me because he is honestly a master of the human physique. And so we get our blood work done, we get checked to make sure that our hormones are in line. And if they're not, what's needed and how do we supplement that? And what's, so every year we go through that, we check and we see, okay, what, like, for instance, I needed thyroid. So, okay, I got to be on thyroid. So what does that look like? There's just different things that we go through, and we check our blood to make sure that whatever it is at that given point in time, that we're functioning properly. And the way to do that is through the blood, because you don't really know what's going on inside of you until you look at the blood. So that's another one. And it's just, for me, it's a lifestyle choice. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just every day we get up, we do it, and it's simple. It makes it so simple that way. I would just say, like, when you do something, to do it with intention. And like, even with cardio, like for me, I love reading and doing either the Stairmaster or the treadmill. So do something that's going to keep you there and keep you enjoying it. I have to have fun with whatever I'm doing. So we'll listen to music, we put music on, we put different things on, and we focus in on it, and we go and we do our routine. Like today, there was 3 of us training. It was Jay, George, and I. And we go through our routine and we have our music on and we're focused. Even though we're training together, we're not sitting there and like just, whatever. And I was probably more focused today because I had to be somewhere right after that. So it can really work for you as long as you're in your own space and you're having fun with it. I have to have fun. If I'm having fun, it's great. So do it with intention. And I mean, you can do all kinds. You can do triceps. You can just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. And you don't have to look as cut as I am. I'm leaning out, and that's only because we're doing our body painting. I mean, at probably December, I'm going to have a little bit more meat on me, but that's because our goals are changed. So everything's reflective of your goals. Everything.
That's a good point. And it's important, I think, for all of us to really keep in mind that, like, everyone has a different goal. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I mean, your goal at one point in the year or your life might be to lean out as much as possible. Maybe you want to build your strength as much. Maybe you're trying to build flexibility. Maybe you're trying to detox, whatever it is. Every one of us needs to understand that our goals are our own and should be set by us. And instead of just trying to imitate like what someone else who looks good is doing,
right.
And the number one question I get asked is, can I lose weight from doing yoga? And I never quite know how to answer it, because it's like, yeah, sure. You can lose weight doing yoga. You can lose weight doing anything. Right. It's not that simple, and it is that simple at the same time. It's like, you just have to listen to your body, which is a skill to learn, but whatever you do, as long as you have a good balance between, your body systems, and some sort of regular routine, you're going to be a healthy person. And, of course, what you're putting in your body as well.
What Christa does is so important, and it's absolutely the number one, because 80% of what you look like and how you feel is in the kitchen.
Yes.
In the kitchen. And so, training can help sculpt you for what it is that you want to look like. But how you feel and what you look like, 80% kitchen. So food, absolutely. What happens in your body, that's number one. Go, Christa.
I completely agree. It's true. I've heard, you guys have probably heard people say, like, I just, I work out so I can eat whatever I want. And
I used to think like that too. Like, I trained so good this week. I'm having my tortas. I'm having my salsa and chips, and it's working out to eat instead of eating to perform or eating to train, And that's where too, it also comes into knowing like the people that you have training you. Like when I did my first bikini competition, I had a trainer, and she told me the day before the competition, she's like, you need to eat a burger and fries to fill out your butt. And I'm like, how's I going to fill out my butt one day before?
Don't you know burgers and fries go to your butt? That's just what they do.
I was like, oh, well, I didn't know that. If that were the case, you'd have more people eating burgers and fries instead of getting butt implants.
Oh, butt implants are creepy. I've seen those before. Butt implants gone wrong, yeah.
So yeah, so just be careful who you're getting your advice from. Do your research yourself too, and just make sure that the people that you're getting the advice from, it's what you want in your life, and it coincides with who you are.
Right, right. And the voice that you listen to above everyone else is your own.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so Christa, any like suggestions on snacks or like on the go eating that that we can have with us so we don't have one of those like freak out moments and pull into a gas station and buy a candy bar because we're starving on the way home from work?
Yeah, I thought Vinny Straub, he's kind of a hip hop artist and he's vegan, and he commented that fast food is fruit, and I thought that was a good way to say it, because fruit is one of the easiest things you can grab, like a banana, an orange, an apple. They already are prepackaged, ready to go. And you can also cut up some vegetables, put them in a little container, have some hummus nearby or some kind of a dip. Nuts, we eat a lot of nuts, any kind of a trail mix or dried fruit. Just kind of watch the sugar on those. Sometimes they can be a little high. And then I make granola bars or power bars or protein bars, and we'll do them in a number of different ways. And I have a few different recipes on my blog. I actually made some. I meant to bring them out to show you. But you can do, one of our favorites is puffed amaranth. It's really great because it's high in protein. It's really popular in Mexico, and you can use it instead of oats if you have a gluten allergy, or you can use gluten-free oats too. But you can put in a number of different things, and chia seeds and pumpkin seeds. And you don't necessarily have to use nuts if you're allergic to nuts. And that's probably one of our favorite things. And then, of course, you can always pre-pack meals and bring them on the go as well, if you're organized and get it ready ahead of time. But that little extra step, like when we worked in the office, we'd keep a thing of nuts in our drawer, some protein bars, and then I'd also make us a coffee bunch or something. So just a little bit of pre-planning goes a long way, so that you don't go and get those potato chips or candy bar or whatever. And you can add a few, like some raw cacao chocolate into your bar or something, so you can get that chocolate fix if it's that time of the month and you want it, or it's not and you just don't like it. So there's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah. Monica, can I ask you, what's your go-to snack on the go? I mean, do you keep something in your gym bag for like before or after training, or what's a good like?
Well, after training, we have a protein shake, and so we have a protein shake with almond milk and water, and that's really it's interesting because as I've developed this routine, my eating habits, like I cannot eat as much as I once did, and it's just my body won't allow it. And there's times that I really truly want to have anywhere from cheese popcorn or just something just just horrible for me. But I can only eat so much, and I used to eat like the whole bag. So I mean, there isn't really Jay always says sometimes if we're really desperate, like I'll take a protein bar with me because I've got soccer games with my daughter and we're going to be out there for the day. And so I'll have one of those will suffice until it's time for us to eat.
Right.
So I usually don't take too many snacks with me. I used to eat quite a bit of fruit, but some of the fruits would get me bloated, and the sugar in the fruits wouldn't react well with my body. So I have to limit the amount of fruit that I eat and the types of fruit that I eat because it doesn't work well with my body. And I had to pay attention to that over the years. So I don't use a lot of watermelon I don't work well with watermelon, or strawberries are okay. But there's certain fruits that I just cannot eat. Aside from that, sometimes I'll have nuts, but nuts makes me feel like it's kind of stuck in my gut. Sometimes I feel like they're not completely digested.
Sure.
So I guess my main go-to would either be some kind of a protein drink, or a protein bar. But I really don't have right now I'm kind of bummed because I really want to be snacking, but I just don't really have the energy for it.
Yeah, sometimes you get in those moods where you're like, I'm hungry, I think, but I don't know what I want to eat.
Well, I'm PMSing right now, so I know I have cravings, and I'm like, oh, that sounds good, but then, I really don't feel like eating it.
We do protein shakes too. We do those a lot too. It's a great way just to get whatever you need and blend it all up, and they're good. So.
Yeah, they're really good, especially when you have them cold. But we'll put ours in the refrigerator, grab it, and then put it in a cooler so it's cold when we can drink it. Yeah. They're really, really good that way, especially on a hot day. And especially after the gym and you've just trained and it's hot, and so you have some of that. It's awesome.
Ooh, it's like a homemade Frappuccino, but a little bit more nutritious. I think it's important also to keep in mind, like, just thinking about maintaining a level of activity throughout the day and not having those like crazy like blood sugar spikes up and down. Right. I think what's worked for me is eating small amounts, like several times a day, which you'll hear a lot of people say, but it's number one, I think for me, it's so I don't get like starving and like eat the whole kitchen, at the same time. But the other reason is, if I know that I have to move around again in an hour or 2 or 3, I can't do it if I'm on a super full stomach. So it's like I try to find that balance, like just enough, like something. And I guess I'm lucky. Like my body's not really picky about like what I eat, so it can kind of be like maybe it's fruit, maybe it's vegetables, maybe it's some kind of protein, kind of whatever. But just enough so that I don't like crash, but not so much that I like want to throw up.
Or fall asleep.
Yeah.
Or go to sleep.
Right now, exactly. Right now, I love salmon and broccoli. That's like, that's so good to me. Salmon and
I've been having a broccoli thing too lately.
I'm obsessed with kale right now. I think it's just the greens.
Yeah.
Oh, kale's so good. When we make smoothies, we pack like as much kale and greens in as we can.
Right.
I feel like kale's like the vegetable right now. It's like it's the in vegetable.
It's a popular guy.
It is. It's very popular. So yeah, I guess let's move on to some closing thoughts. Anything to recap what we've talked about? I hope that we've given you guys some like useful tips for eating healthy, for developing and following some kind of activity routine, and for working yoga into your daily or weekly life. Do you guys have any closing thoughts?
Go ahead, Christa. You go first. I don't want to steal the thunder.
I was just going to say, just to add to what you were saying, that we all have our own goals. And I recently did this divine goddess meditation, and it was saying how every woman or every person has their own divine aspects, and that we get caught up in comparing, and this person has that and I don't, and we're all our own, best image from the creator of all, and how can we bring our individual selves out, and what works best for you, whether it's vegan, whether it's not, whether it's weight training, whether it's yoga, just honoring yourself. I think would be the main takeaway.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
I totally agree. I think that you need to listen to, or learn how to listen to what you need, what your mind needs, what your body needs, and what feels the best. I mean, some people love to run 20 miles a day. Mm-hmm. That's not for everyone. Some people do yoga every day. That's not for everyone either. I don't do yoga every day, So I think it's just sort of like, give yourself some time, some trial and error, play around with some healthy snacks, take note of how you feel, play around with some activities, I think the important thing is like make it a priority. Mm-hmm. Like you deserve it,
Right.
Give the time to yourself.
Right. And I think what I've noticed is that many, especially with women, and I see this time and time again, you see a woman who will spend 2 hours at the hair salon getting their hair done, and yet they pay zero attention to what's going on with their body.
Right.
So where are your priorities? What is going on with your priority? And at what point do you take your health seriously enough to realize that this body that you have it's supposed to take you through this journey that we have going right now on this earth plane. And if you don't take care of it, it will be taken from you, and it does not feel good when think about when you're sick and how crappy that feels. Mm-hmm. Think about having disease. Think about having diabetes. Think about having all of these things that you have to poke and prod yourself because you haven't made the choices to live a healthy lifestyle. And it's not difficult. It's just like anything else. As long as you prioritize and as long as you have enough value in who you are, it's so simple. Love yourself enough to give yourself as a priority. And then that way you can show up a full, wonderful expression of who you truly are. Don't let society, don't let commercials, TV shows, or anybody, it's like you said, Chris, comparison is the thief of all joy. There's no comparing. There's one wonderful you. That's it. So what makes you tick and what's going to make you tick better?
And that will make you more beautiful.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. You follow what you want to do. Follow your passion. And I just thought of something while you were talking. You know how sometimes you'll see somebody that looks great, or maybe you have a friend that looks great, but doesn't, eat well or doesn't exercise. And people around that person are like, oh, he or she is so lucky. They don't have to do anything and they look great. Do you really think that's what it's about?
Yeah.
Do you really think that that's all it's about? And what's going on the inside is not necessarily, can be, but not always, a reflection of what's going on the outside. And so it's just another, I guess, warning not to compare yourself with the people that you see. Not to assume that other people are less or more healthy or less or more fortunate. Everybody's fighting their own battles, and your health is you only have one body, for this life.
You guys, do not place your health in the hands of the doctors or the medical field. Because honestly, right now that's run by the pharmaceutical companies. And the last thing that you need is to just be pumped with a bunch of drugs because this is what they say that you need. If you know your body, you'll know if something works for you. What I take, I know it works for me. I know I feel good on it. I know I'm okay. But if anything at any point doesn't feel right or I'm feeling off, it's done. Because I'm paying attention to my own body.
Yes.
I'm not saying, Doc, what do I do because of this? Because, the doctor is going to go based on his studies or whatever in his skin. It is you. You've got to know you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's, I guess the best I can hope for, like, a lesson to be learned through yoga. That might be the most important takeaway, I think, for me, is like, it just teaches you how to find your own voice. It teaches you how to be aware of yourself, just like anything that you can really focus on.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's a great ending point. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And thank you guys so much for watching again. Next week, we have a really awesome, exciting show for you. Ms. Monica's husband, Jay.
He's kind of hot. Sorry.
He's quite the heartbreaker. He will be reviewing his book, TRT Revolution. So I'm really excited. This is a totally new field for me, just like our last episode was when we did Gerald Clark's book. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. Christa, again, artisticvegan.com, Monica at fabulouslyfitover40.com, and then me at veteranfitness.com. Thank you guys again so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you guys.